Hey, Coach. Matt was saying that obviously they didn't get a lot of time for, as they normally would preparing for a season with you girls getting set to open the season here in 2 days. Do you feel like that you've gotten enough preparation to start the season tomorrow, or would you like more time?
Well, you always want time. You feel like time is going to help things, but I think we're ready. We need to play against someone else. Obviously, starting off the season at Kentucky, number 11 team in the country is a lot to ask for. But we have to treat it as our exhibition and our scrimmage. I mean, it'll be the best opportunity for us to work on everything against an elite basketball team. So, but it's definitely time to play.
What do you want to see from your team when you go in the first game against Kentucky?
I just want to see us be competitive, work as hard in the game as we have all of preseason, all of practice. Want to see lots of communication, have the opportunity to put different lineups together to see what works best for us. So like I said, we're focusing on them obviously because you have to, but most of the focus is going to be on us and what we can get out of the experience.
Coach, I'd like to ask the Will Aubrey question. Obviously, you have a very unique situation in which this is a free year and you can play as much as you want, however you want. But any indications on who might show up on that starting lineup on Wednesday afternoon?
Well, I think that's going to be indicative of the way the year is going to go with COVID and those type of things. We got to wait and see where we all stand with those NCAA protocols, OVC protocols about who's going to be available. Obviously just like this time of year, you always have a little bit kids nicked up here and there. So we're just going to wait and see, and we're going to go out with the players that we have. I can't really name a lineup at this time because, you just don't wait up until game time these days to know for sure who's available. So I think the lineup could change, could be fluid throughout the year, obviously depending on who's available from game to game. But that's one thing that I think that sets us apart from the teams that I've had in the past here. We do have a lot of depth, and we have the ability to rotate different players in and out. And an injury or a loss of a player for any reason doesn't hurt us nearly as bad as it has in the past because I feel like we're at least 2 to 3 deep in every spot.
Who gets the challenge of defending Ryan on Wednesday? And from a message standpoint, I know it's a team effort, but there's probably got to be a badge of courage in that regard. Who gets that honor, and how do you sell that as a coach in developing what you want a defensive stopper to be?
Well, right now going into the start of the game, if I had to say right now, depending on for sure availability and all that, we'll probably have Manna start on her. I think it's a big challenge for her. She lacks those opportunities. She lacks the ability to go up against the best teams out there, best players. But, it'll take a group effort to stop her. Ryan is an outstanding player. She can score the basketball in several different ways. She looks to score offensively. She can hurt you in so many areas. But, the way she gets her teammates involved is something that you have to watch out, too, because she draw a double team, and then she's such a good passer. But, she rightfully so is tabbed as one of the best players in the country, and she'll be a handful for sure. Unfortunately, they have a lot of other good players as well, so they have plenty of people that can step up and get it done. It'll be a huge challenge for us as far as length and size and athleticism, but it's a game. We get to go out and play against other people. We get to challenge ourselves, and we get to see what our kids are made of when their backs are against the wall.
You spoke about that depth that you have in years past. Obviously, last year you didn't really have that luxury. How much does this give you an opportunity these first, 1, 2, 3 games to kind of play around with some things and figure out what works, what doesn't? And again, something you haven't had that luxury of in the past couple of years.
Right, looking forward to that. I think we're going to have to use all 5 non-conference games to fill out different lineups, see what roles our players are most comfortable in. But we have that ability. Sometimes it can be a blessing or a curse when you have 10 kids that you feel like should get minutes, and the coaches are trying to figure out how to get those minutes. But it's way better to have too many than not enough. So we're going to utilize the talents of each individual player and try to put them in the position to be the most successful they can be. But we definitely will take an opportunity during these 5 games, hopefully, if we get them non-conference, to see what people can do when the game's on the line. I think that's the most important thing. We talk to our kids all the time about you learn, prepare, perform. You got to learn what you've got to do. You've got to prepare for what you've got to do, but ultimately you have to be able to perform when it matters. So the players that can step up and produce for us offensively and defensively when the lights are on are the ones that will end up getting the majority of the minutes.
You obviously have an experienced team now with all these girls being around this program for a couple of years, at least the core group. Going into a place like Kentucky for a season opener, is it a little bit easier to do that with a team that has had the experience like you have with Macy and a couple of those other girls that have been there and played in those places before, and they're not as intimidated when they walk on those courts?
Well, I think that'll help. I mean, since we've been here, we've played Tennessee, Louisville twice. This will be the second time to play Kentucky. We played Mississippi State, Illinois, Butler. There's really not any shock and awe for those kids because they've been put through the ringer for us to try to raise some money for our program. But we are going to have a lot of freshmen and a lot of transfers that are going to play significant minutes, and those kids have not been in that situation. So it's just going to be trying to get them settled in, making them understand that we're just asking for their best effort, asking for them to go out and play the game that they know to play. So, obviously there'll be nerves. There would be nerves regardless of who we're playing the first game of the season when the ball's tipped up. So we just got to do a good job as a coaching staff to have them relax and to understand that we're playing that 40 minutes to get ready for the next 40 minutes.
Coach, with the resignation of Coach Mitchell, I guess you kind of knew what to expect from one of his ball clubs, but do you know anything about the interim coach and how she might handle a game or, her style or anything like that? Or does that just throw your scouting completely off?
Well, it's very difficult to scout a team that hasn't played a game, that has 4 or 5 SEC transfers that with the clips we showed in scout were them playing for the other team, the different team last year. So scout's very difficult in those situations, but Kyra is a winner. She's been with Coach Mitchell. She was ready to take over a program. I don't think they'll skip a beat. I think they'll kind of do a lot of the things that they have always done because I think part of the way they played and the style of play was due to her joining his staff a while back. They're going to play hard. They're going to do things right. They're going to be fundamentally sound, and they've got the talent to do about just anything that they want to do. So I expect them to come out and really try to push tempo, pressure us, and make things hard on us. But we just got to be ready for that. But she will do an outstanding job. Hate that Coach Mitchell had to step away when he probably has the best team he's had since he's been there. But I know that she's ready, and I know that those girls are going to rally behind her, and they're going to have a great year.
Coach, we've already seen an unfortunate change in Murray State men's basketball in their schedule as things have gotten a little fluid there before the season ever kicks off. How have you and your staff talked about or even discussed the possible fluidity of a schedule, and how do you prepare for those situations and bounce back? You got somebody on speed dial, or how does that even work for you guys?
Well, it's just a unique situation that everybody has to be prepared for. I talked to Jeff Waltz this morning, and he added us on a texting group chat, basically, that all the teams and coaches are getting on. And if a game comes open, you put your date there, and hopefully somebody will reach out to you to play. But everybody's just being proactive because, again, you do not know right up until before whether you're going to have enough players to play, and that's just what's really difficult. And you may prepare a scout and you may prepare for a team for a week, and then you're playing a different opponent the next day. So I think you just have to be willing to roll with the punches. I think the teams that are able to handle the adversity that they go through and the ups and downs and the mental toughness of a season like this are going to come out on top in the end. So we're just preaching for our players to control what they can control, do the best that they can to stay safe and healthy, and just go out every single day and be grateful that we're getting to practice, that we're getting to play, because we never know when that's going to be taken from us again.